Good afternoon. Welcome, bienvenue, and willkommen. My name is Kelly Lam. I'm the Vice President of Marketing here at Miele. And as all of you are continuing to remain at home across the country, I know businesses are slowly opening up. We want to ensure we're still here for you. Over the past weeks, many of you have joined us with our Miele live sessions. And really, these sessions were developed in response to you, our customers, who continue to have questions for us, again, during these unique times we're all facing. 2 weeks ago, we were very excited to launch a new campaign called #MieleDinesLocal. And this new campaign was really driven around the understanding that many small businesses across the country right now are facing some challenging times. And because of you, our viewers, who have actually helped us develop this platform of Miele Live, we wanted to use this platform actually to help support some of these businesses across the country. So with #MieleDinesLocal, we've actually put out the challenge to chefs across the country, restaurateurs across the country, to share with us their signature dish. And what we've done is invited some of these chefs and restaurateurs to actually come on and actually cook that dish with us, share the story about their restaurants. In addition to that, Miele will actually purchase 100 meals from those restaurants, and together with the restaurants and restaurateurs, we would donate these chefs to frontline workers that are out there right now. Today, and I can already tell you it smells fantastic here in the kitchen, we're very excited to have Chef Arturo Anhalt from Milagro Cantina here with us in Toronto. Welcome.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you so much.
So excited to have, and I'm excited because I'm very fortunate that one of your restaurants that you had was very close to our home, and my family would go there all the time. So
Yes.
I know the restaurant well. So really excited to have you here.
Well, thank you for the invitation. It's a very, very nice gesture and idea.
No, fantastic.
We'd love to be here.
So maybe you can talk to us, Arturo, a little bit about the restaurant itself, when you started it, because you have a long history,
Yes.
obviously, in the community in Toronto itself.
Yes.
Maybe what was the inspiration and the restaurant itself?
Milagro Cantina was born out of a couple too many beers in a beach near Acapulco with my brother. I was living in Mexico at that time, having already lived in Canada 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to come back and continue my life here in Canada, and I was thinking of how I could go back and what we would do. And I always knew that there was not a full service, Mexican establishment.
Mm-hmm.
There were some mom and pops, some taquerias, but mostly serving Tex-Mex or very distorted Mexican food. So I had not found my Mexican restaurant in Toronto. And my brother at that time was already a chef. I had been in the restaurants for maybe 25 years. And I said, well, what if we open up a Mexican restaurant in Toronto and then you come back to Toronto with me? And that was as simple as it went. We said cheers. 4 months later, we were already in Toronto looking for a space, and the Milagro Cantina opened at 5 Mercer Street in 1996.
Wow.
No, 2006. Yes, so it's 14 years. And we have Milagro on Queen West,
Mm-hmm.
that is almost 10 years old. And at some point we were 10 years at the Yonge and Lawrence, that's where we met.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we had Milagro on Yonge Street for 10 years.
Wow, fantastic. So, so one thing I want to mention, Arturo is also streaming live as well. So welcome to his guests
Yes.
that are out there. So, we talked a little bit earlier. So you have a very interesting background, because
Yes.
when I mentioned your last name, it sounds very German, being a German company. So many people may think, Arturo's cooking Spanish food or
Yes.
Mexican food. Interesting.
Yes.
Maybe talk a little bit about your background, because I found
Well,
that really
I
interesting.
am Mexican, born and raised in Mexico City. My parents are born and raised in Mexico City as well. All of my grandparents came to America without really understanding how many countries existed, trying to flee very harsh times and the war in the eastern part of Europe, Lithuania, some regions in Austro-Hungary when it was still the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Germany, Russia, and what today is Poland. they were not sure that they were heading to Mexico. They were sure they were heading to America. But when they landed in Mexico, and it's a big European community that did stay,
Yep.
they said, this is where we're gonna be. I mean, the idea of the United States evaporated somehow. They settled in the coast first, moved towards the inside of the country in a city called Puebla, ultimately ending in Mexico City. And that's where both of my parents were born. And that's where I grew up, with people asking me why my Spanish was so good, because nobody would really understand it. But being young, I would say, why? Why do people ask me? I mean, I've always felt very Mexican.
You're right.
So I understand now the differences. And but yes. I mean,
Well,
this is some of the food that I grew up with, and this is definitely my favorite dish of all time.
And we're gonna, and I think that's why, to be honest, we love the restaurant, is because it was very hard to find authentic Mexican cuisine, honestly, here in Toronto.
Yes.
And I think Milagro was really the first restaurant where we really found authentic Mexican cuisine, and it was great to have you in the community right now.
Yes, no, it was, for us, it was like it was a very positive thing. Not only we were introducing a cuisine that maybe was misunderstood, but it is the food that we grew up with. Neither my brother or I had done it professionally,
Right.
but we grew up, I mean, some of these things in my restaurants in Mexico were staff meal, because that's what we eat. So
Right.
Milagro serves a food that people eat on a daily basis.
And
It's rustic. Milagro is a cantina, so in the same way of trattorias and
Yeah.
bistros in France,
right.
cantinas in Mexico with a Spanish influence, that's how cantinas opened up in Mexico.
Nice.
But they serve this type of very homey, very hearty, very heartwarming food.
Very
And that's
comforting.
yes, comforting, exactly. And that's what Milagro does.
So why don't you maybe introduce the dish? What are we actually, because funny enough, I don't think I've actually had this particular dish at your restaurant. I have many
No.
other ones. So what are we actually doing today, Chef?
Well, today we're going to make Cochinita Pibil. Cochinita Pibil is, Cochinita means a small pork, a small pig.
Okay.
Pibil is the style. It's a dish from the Yucatan state, from the Yucatan Peninsula.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dish that originated there a couple of hundred years ago. It has become a darling in Mexico, so it's eaten throughout. But if you ask anybody, so the Yucatecans, the people from Yucatan own it. And I would not even dare say that this is as close, as good as theirs. I've gotten into Twitter wars saying they know Cochinita is very good, and they say, how dare you say that? You're in Toronto.
Yeah.
I think we have very good Cochinita in Toronto. But it is my favorite dish. It's a wonderful, very tangy, very pungent flavor. It's not hot, although very spiced, as you will see.
Right.
And it's just fantastic because you eat it as tacos. We serve it in Milagro as a main course, but with tortillas on the side, so you make your own tacos. The garnish is some pickled habanero onions that just go fantastically well. It is just a great dish. If you eat pork, it's one of the best pork dishes out there.
So I'll let you get started.
Well, thank you again.
No problem.
So today we're gonna do Cochinita Pibil, which is normally done sometimes with a full animal, with a full pig. I chose a leg of pork because it has different muscles, different textures, some all these pork dishes, get the benefit of flavor through some of this
absolutely.
very tasty fat. And the dish basically is pork that marinates in a acid marinade that is based on achiote.
Mm-hmm.
Achiote is an annatto seed. It's an adobo made with annatto seed, garlic, and some spices. It's very hard, very red. You will see the color of the marinade, and it ends up being very orange.
Okay.
So you can do the annatto seed and garlic, or you can do these pastes. Mostly it's done with paste, and these pastes have a little additional flavor. But it's soft, it's like clay.
Okay. And is the paste actually spicy itself?
The paste is just very, very, very flavorful.
Okay.
You will see the effect, and it's very, very aromatic. So the smell just wafts through the air. It's very, very powerful. The annatto seed is wonderful. So this is around 4 kilos of meat. We would use around 300 grams of the achiote. If you do get annatto seeds, you would have to powder them. And
so
you can
easier
use
right
them,
now to,
yes.
okay.
So you just basically crumble the annatto seed. If you see my fingers already, they're
Right.
bright red.
staining.
So at Milagro, I know who had been preparing cochinita.
It almost looks like Play-Doh.
See, and it is the texture of Play-Doh.
Oh, okay.
There could be a Play-Doh called El Yucateco. And this brand in particular, El Yucateco, you know, they're not sponsoring me.
Yeah.
It is the best. So the
Okay.
flavor of this brand is
And
the best.
is that difficult to find in Toronto?
No, actually, it's in an amazing store owned by a friend called Hector. It's La Perola.
And where's that located?
It's on Augusta
Okay.
in Kensington Market. You can find El Yucateco and most Mexican goods. So it's a pungent marinade made with, it's like a cup and a half of vinegar.
Okay. And that's just regular white vinegar?
This is regular white vinegar.
Okay.
Also, Mexican food is very, very, very basic. You rarely use olive oil. You rarely use wine,
Okay.
vinegars. Very little pepper. Actually, this dish has no pepper.
Okay.
It's like a cup and a half of oranges, 1 cup, ideally fresh.
So really it'll have a bit of the sour, the sweet.
Yes. I mean, the marinade ends up being very sour, but once you cook it, it becomes not as pungent.
Okay.
This is allspice, so it is like a teaspoon of each. Powdered cinnamon, oregano, dried. Mexican oregano
yeah.
has a little bit of a different flavor. And ground cumin, which is very oftenly used in Tex-Mex food, but in Mexico, in rare dishes like
Okay. It's
like
also
Cochinita Pibil. Let's just get all the juice out of the oranges. So you would just blend this.
So as Chef is blending, the one point we want to actually note is the blender actually we're using today is actually an all-new blender that's actually been brought to the market by our partners at Zwilling Henkel, who are actually providing all the knives, pots and pans that we use here at the Miele Experience Center. And it's really actually a fantastic blender, new product. You can check that out on their website at Zwilling Henkel.
A very, very important ingredient I was bypassing.
Gar-
These are 8
gar-
cloves of garlic.
8 cloves of garlic, okay.
Yes, it's a very garlicky dish. And some salt. It's like a teaspoon and a half, 2 teaspoons of salt.
Okay.
And that is the marinade. So with these 2 ingredients, the marinade will be ready. So there.
So there's no need to cook this marinade, it just,
No, so what you would do if you're at home,
yep.
if you want to smell it, it's very, very pungent.
Ooh,
But
that smells so nice.
but that very harsh acid
Wow.
will go away.
Very, very nice though.
So what you do with the marinade now is you just pour it over the pork. You want to make sure that it's not lumpy, it's super smooth, because this will become the sauce of the dish. Thank you. So we just coat the pork generously. All of this marinade will become a sauce. So you end up with a lot of sauce, it's a nicer dish. It's
And
a
you
saucy.
actually you would actually keep that sauce for actually
Yes.
eating with the dish.
Yes, of
afterwards.
course. Actually, you braise it
Okay.
in the marinade, then you pull it, and if you really want an extra tender, you can even simmer it for another couple of hours. So it's a dish that would take you up to 6 hours
Okay.
6 to 7 hours to make.
And Chef, would you marinate that overnight ideally?
Yes, this ideally would go overnight, at least 6 hours.
Okay.
So yes, it does seep into the pork. So we're gonna set it aside. We're gonna start some of these garnishes that I'll talk about. So what you're gonna do is grab a half pan or a crock pot, something that is deep, and you're gonna line it with banana leaves. Banana leaves are not only beautiful because they keep the moisture, they also have a flavor. Once you cook in banana leaf, you're able to identify what has banana leaf. It has like a a clay, like earthy taste. It even has a very nice aroma.
So for people at home that right now may not be able to get banana leaves,
Yes.
what
But you do find them in most of the
stores, right?
See, in Chinatown, definitely, in all
Okay.
of the fruit stores.
Okay.
In any fruit store dedicated to anything beyond just the apples and the oranges and the pears,
Okay.
they will have banana leaf. It's normally frozen.
Okay.
So you would line the pan crisscrossed because you want the banana leaf on the bottom
Yeah.
as well as on the top, because this will be also used to cover and line the pork inside. We just want lots of layers and all of it hanging on the sides,
Okay.
because we will put the pork in here and then cover it. So once the pan is lined, pork marinated overnight, like
Right.
magic.
Magic.
So you just pour it in there. You want to use all of the liquids. And then you're going to seal it with a banana leaf.
Okay.
So it basically steams in the banana leaf. This in Mexico is done on, on underground pits.
Yep.
So they warm them up with charcoal, and then they bury the Cochinita Pibil. So a true Yucatecan would say, no,
No.
you're not
You
burying
can't-
it. You cannot call it cochinita. So I accept the limitations. So you see, you just grab all of these leaves that you put on the side,
Yep.
and you cover it.
And do the leaves actually, after it steams or braises, does it get soft, like very
No,
soft?
it is really unedible. It's very stretchy and fibery. You cannot.
But easy to just take
Yes,
off.
I mean, you take it off, and
Okay.
I mean, it's like magic. Once it comes out, it's amazing. So you can just put it all there, keep it tight. Just to make sure that it steams correctly, we do a layer of
foil.
Yep. And you want to really seal it so that you're going to cook it at 325 Fahrenheit,
Okay.
Anywhere between 6 and up to 8 hours.
Okay.
If you do it a little bit slower, 275,
Even
8
better?
to 9 hours, and yes, it just comes out.
So would you actually recommend that, to actually do it at a even lower temperature?
See, all
just
these
do it
meats, slow
longer?
and slow is the way to go.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you have even if you do this inside a smoker,
Right.
it's amazing the flavors that you would get. So yeah, that's it. That goes in the oven. And 6 hours later, you have the best dish on the planet.
So Chef, just quickly, before we move on to the next step, so we have a question from Dora Wong. Welcome,
Yes.
Dora, to Miele Live
Hello.
with Chef Arturo. I guess Dora missed the earlier portion maybe a little bit, but
Yes.
What is the name of the paste and brand, and can you find the paste in a big supermarket?
Maybe big supermarkets have started selling it. I don't know, because it has become Cochinita Pibil has become super popular in Toronto. The product is called achiote, achiote. It's achiote paste, and it's made with annatto seeds. And annatto seeds you can get in most of the well curated spice shops. They do
Right.
have annatto seed. But achiote can be found in most Latin American stores. Kensington Market, all of their stores have
As well.
achiote.
Okay. And the brand that you're using
This is El Yucateco. So it's El Yucateco means from
Yucateco.
Yucatan.
Yeah.
It's a really old brand that most people use in Mexico. It's really nice.
Okay.
The aroma and the flavor, I find it the best.
Okay. So Dora, hopefully we've answered your question there. And we'll leave that in the comment section as well for you later. So Chef, what's the next step?
So I'm just going to quickly run through you how we prepare the garnish. we're going to use a bowl. So Cochinita Pibil is normally served with pickled onions. It's a very, very simple dish, but the effect is fantastic. And as they marinate, they just get super bright pink and super flavorful. It's really onions, vinegar. In Yucatan, people eat habaneros like if they were apples. They don't think they're spicy. So we add some habanero, although in Yucatan you can find some very, very spicy habanero sauce or habanero pickled onions. So you just slice the onion very thin.
And again, Chef, here, if customers are having problems finding fresh habanero, I know this is a very traditional, is there any substitute
Well,
that's...
you're going to have to make me be honest here. These are not habaneros. These are Scotch bonnets. Scotch bonnets are very popular in Toronto. They're in all Jamaican stores. They sell Scotch bonnets and everything that you find in the supermarkets. Some even Loblaws. I've seen small packages of habaneros.
Okay.
Well, Scotch bonnets.
Okay.
They're similar to habanero, but there is a slight difference. So again, that's a little local cheat that we will have to do here in Toronto. I have seldomly found the habaneros and used them. So this is our refried beans. I think they're fully refried. So you would, depending on the heat level that you want, you have to be very careful because once the habanero touches your fingers, it stays on. Anything you do will feel it. And so just for color, I'll grab two. Habaneros are yellow, and they're a bit larger. But they are as spicy as a Scotch bonnet, so Scotch bonnets do the job.
And I assume the pickled onion also gives a bit of texture.
Yes. See, once you grab the taco in between the tanginess of the onion and I'm going to use some vinegar. Sorry.
Chef's just going to grab some vinegar there.
And you just want to have enough vinegar to cover it.
Okay.
To cover the onion. It takes a lot of salt because it's a pickled product.
Okay.
So maybe for this amount, a couple of tablespoons. Not tablespoons, teaspoons. And just a good mix. If you let that sit for at least 3 hours, they're already good enough to eat.
And you actually don't need to cook that?
Nope.
Like you don't need to
no,
heat
this
the
is
vinegar
just
or anything? Oh, wow.
The vinegar does all the job. It
oh, wow.
chemically cooks it.
Okay.
That's what's happening.
And if somebody does this, can they keep it in a jar?
I mean, these will even keep outside at room temperature for a couple of days.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's so high acid that it won't spoil. Ultimately, it'll ferment, but...
Right.
And there's just a little bit of oregano. As much as you like. Some people add serranos to this. So again, in Yucatan, they would
they would
scold me just for saying it, but... And that's it.
Okay.
So, the other side that we do at Milagro, and it's maybe a more personal preference because it won't come with every cochinita dish that you find, is we do fried plantains. I just find that the mix of the sweetness of the plantain and the tanginess is just
a balance of
really, really nice. The plantains, you want them super black, super soft. Almost, I mean, they look rotten, but that's when they're the best.
Okay.
So you just slice them. They're very, very soft, very squishy. Here we're gonna fry them.
Okay.
And if you fry them and then just use some sugar, condensed milk, something sweet, they're fantastic. But in Mexico, we eat them as dessert.
But this would actually be the side dish then with the pork in this case.
Yes. So in Milagro, we serve it with our refried beans that we have on the stove.
Okay.
And the fried plantains on the side, tortillas on the side, the pickled onions, and some, I forgot to bring my habanero sauce that we make in-house. We call it salsa pancho.
But that's another reason right now why our viewers actually take the opportunity to actually order from you.
Yes.
So what's on the menu right now? Obviously, it's a bit of an interesting time where customers can't easily visit the restaurant, but what's on the menu right now that customers can order?
Cochinita Pibil is always on the menu.
Okay,
It's been
that's
there
good.
for 15 years. We don't want to take it off. But we have most of the menu. We have ceviche. We normally prepare 2 or 3. We have 1.
Okay.
Obviously guacamole and all of our salsas are the 3 types of enchiladas that we make. But on the entrees we have cochinita, barbacoa, carnitas, the classics.
Okay.
We also have an alambre, which is almost like a fajita. We have all sorts of stuff. I mean,
Okay.
it's still a big menu, notwithstanding the situation.
Okay.
And we even do some kits. So if you want to prepare this at home, we send everything cold just to heat up.
Oh, okay.
Heat up your tortillas and then kind of make your own tacos in your house.
And
We have tequila kits and margarita kits.
as well. Wow.
These are refried beans.
Okay.
And these in themselves could be a full episode. These are boiled with onion and jalapeno, then blended or pureed,
Yeah.
and then we fry them in oil for a couple of hours.
Wow. Really? That long?
They're very, very flavorful. They're very rich. Again, not necessarily served with every dish of cochinita you can find, but I think that the mix of these 3 items is just extraordinary. It's
Yeah.
delicious. The plantains you want to fry until they're a bit, they're yellow, but starting to get golden.
Okay.
They don't need a lot of cooking.
And chef, people a lot of times are afraid to fry at home because it's so specific on temperature.
Yes,
How-
and you have to be very careful.
Yeah, careful. How hot typically, because your oil wasn't,
I mean, the fryers in the restaurant, we set them to 350
okay,
Fahrenheit. Hot oil. I mean,
okay,
for stuff like this, you don't want it smoking because then that will burn it.
right,
But it's just hot oil and maybe on a shallower pan with not so much oil.
okay.
Being
Is
always
al- is
careful,
also
yes.
okay as well.
Then on the back, this is a comal. It's really a flat pan where you heat up your tortillas.
And,
So
it
we're gonna
looks like and it looks like that's been well used over the years.
Yes, yes. This landed in one of the restaurants, but it came from one of my moves coming back and forth. The other day I said, why we don't use it? We use a big griddle, no, to heat up the tortillas.
Right.
I told the chef, I said, let's get rid of it. No, let's keep it. So she was right. So these are corn tortillas. You want a very, very hot surface because you are really finishing their cooking process as you heat them.
Okay.
In Mexico, we keep them in just napkins or these plastic tortilla
Yeah.
baskets.
And chef, right now for our viewers to find out your latest menu, easiest is visit the website.
MilagroRestaurant.com, and you would find Milagro Mercer or Milagro Queen. Once you click on that, you will see the full menu.
Okay.
And our platform allows you to choose
Oh, okay, so they can
the
actually
dishes,
order.
the pickup time,
Okay.
the
online.
date, and you pay online.
Okay.
So really, by the time you get to Milagro, we just hand you the bag.
And you're ready to
We
go.
also go through the ordering apps,
Okay, as well.
but our online platform, it's just click and shoot and
For pickup. And maybe talk a little bit about your hours of operation now. So what are your hours of operation? Are you 7 days a week?
I mean, we used to be 7 days a week, lunch and dinner.
Okay.
We're now doing pickup and delivery from 4 p.m. till 9,
Okay,
Wednesdays through Sunday.
okay,
So if you see tortillas get a little bit dark,
Yeah.
that's really what you want. And to keep them warm, you really just
put
want
them in
a
a
thick
towel.
thick napkin. Inside a bread basket would even be better.
Okay.
They get cold and hard very fast.
So if they bring it, if people are doing takeout with you and bringing it back home,
Yes.
do they need to reheat the tortilla as well? And what would be
We,
the best way?
we bunch them up and heat them up
Okay,
for just our warm takeout. But if you wanted to do the kits, we send them cold
okay,
with instructions of how to heat up.
okay, as well.
You can even do them directly on the flame,
If you have a gas.
and if
gas
you don't want to
stove.
burn your hands.
Yeah. Probably not.
So you keep them warm. The plantains are almost done. You just want some napkin to absorb some of the oil. But this plantain in particular is so ripe,
Right.
it's gonna just be, you'll see. You'll try.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna take out the ones that seem cooked. So if you see they're not black, They're very, very, very soft. So when they ripen, they get less starchy and they get super sweet.
Okay.
Again, this just with a sprinkle of sugar for dessert.
The dessert is.
That's all you need. Well, I'll take it all out so it doesn't burn.
Okay.
But now we can plate the dish.
And would you say this is one of the most popular dishes at
Yes.
Milagro?
I mean, obviously I recommend it a lot because I love it. So if I'm on the floors, a lot of cochinita is sold. No, but the people have come to love it. Every time that we've had a food festival or an opportunity to do a food show, we sell tacos de cochinita. And people love them. So, now that we have, this would be like the finished pickled onions. They would get more uniform and a little bit brighter pink,
Right.
but these are ready to eat. So
Okay.
you have your plantains, your tortillas, and your refried beans. This is very much similar to what we do at the restaurant. So we do a generous portion of the beans that themselves are delicious. They're very rich.
Yeah, they really
We have
look
people who come to the cantinas only for
for the refried
only for the
beans.
refried beans. This is 6 hours later,
Right. Through the
and
magic
warming
of-
it on a pan, which I don't recommend, but ideally you would steam it.
Oh, and actually we could have used our steam oven next time to actually steam it
Okay,
instead of using the pan.
I should have asked. And if you see, it really, we didn't pull it. This is how it comes out. You start grabbing it with your fork or tongs or whatever, and it pulls
Right.
by itself. This is a banana leaf hair, so
Okay.
it's also very common. But as you see, they're very fibery, and it's impossible to eat. So you place your cochinita, the onions,
Wow.
and some of the fried plantain. We set them on the beans. And the idea is that everything you see on the plate, you grab a tortilla, you put it in there.
So really it has sour, salty,
See, no, it's
that is sweet from the plantain, obviously the sugar from the plantain. That's a fantastic dish.
so please, you should try one.
I will. I think the crew here too is waiting to salivating at trying to get to this, but it's such a fantastic dish.
See, and it's colorful.
But I think it's comforting. And I think
Yes.
people need some of that right
No,
now.
of course,
to be,
of course. If you want some comfort, and it's funny because it's a rich dish, but Yucatan is one of the warmest states in Mexico, so
Right.
it's eaten throughout.
But again, I think with the pickled onions too, it
Yes.
helps cut through a bit of that.
Yes, yes, no, and
richness
if
of
you
the
start
rice
with a nice
texture.
tequila or a nice mezcal, you can chase it with a beer. You get the idea of how fantastic this can get.
That's great.
Yes?
So thank you, Chef, for
No,
sharing this
no,
dish
thank you,
with our
thank
viewers,
you.
both your viewers and then our viewers. I think,
And it's worthwhile mentioning, Osa, thank you for the invitation. It's a fantastic idea. The cause is very noble. You're not only supporting us because you're really supporting the people that we're going to donate to.
Right, but I think it's also really, I think we're all going through our own challenging times, and I think, making sure that the restaurants like you are still here to, for the community to enjoy once we
Yes,
kind
no,
of get out of this.
Not only I speak for every restaurateur out there who's open. They're doing it because of heart.
Okay.
Because of business reasons, it doesn't make sense. So everybody out there who is opening up their kitchens deserves just a round of applause and just the understanding that they're doing it for the customers.
Okay.
Right now, it's not.
Right.
There's nothing for us. We're doing it because we want to continue the foods that we think our customers like. These are the hubs of reunions and the hubs of life and hubs of families and hubs
Right.
of friends that if we really don't continue them,
Yeah.
it's going to be a very sad social scenario. So
No.
I hope that this ends fast and that people support restaurants and that
Yeah.
many of
And-
them just come through and
Yeah.
get over this.
And again, so Milagro, 2 locations, Mercer Street,
And Queen Street
Queen
West,
Street West, Wednesdays through Sunday,
Wednesday through Sunday, 4 to 9, hopefully soon Tuesdays.
and then best order online.
Yeah.
Is the easiest
Yes,
way
milagrorestaurant.com.
to do it.
And you choose your time and your pickup date, and
Okay.
we'll have it ready.
And you were saying with the ceviche, you're only doing one now. Do you change that up, or is it
Yes.
the same one?
This week we're doing an octopus ceviche. It's my favorite. So it's octopus with the green tomatillo, chipotles, and red onion, with
That
lots
sounds
of
good
lime.
too.
It's really good,
Okay.
and actually going very well with this dish.
Okay. So as many of you know, part of this initiative as well is that we're working with Chef Arturo to also purchase 100 dishes from you, and we're going to donate these dishes. Maybe you can talk about where we're actually going to donate the dishes to.
Yes, I'm glad that you asked. There is this amazing initiative called EVAs. And what they do is that they have 2 homes in Toronto where they receive youth who become homeless for whatever reason, family problems, money problems, that find themselves out of a house.
Mhm.
They receive them for up to a month.
Okay.
So they give them psychological counseling, any education that they might require, and they rehabilitate them or make them feel confident enough to go back
into the
and
community.
to find. Yes, I mean, it's up to a month. I know that they're very flexible. It's for youth between the ages of, I believe, 16 to up to 24 or 29.
Okay.
But what they do is outstanding. I had the opportunity to visit one of their homes, and it's just truly outstanding what they do. The kids are so positive. It's a great space for a segment of society that when a home is not available, they're completely exposed. So if this goes to them, I know that they're going to be very, very pleased, very happy, and
Yeah.
I just appreciate that through you we can do this.
Well, and I know you've been supporting them as well, so
Yes,
we're more than
yes.
happy to join
Meal
you.
Share, which is an amazing initiative, is part of our menu. If you choose Cochinita Pibil, actually in particular, we donate $1 to Meal Share, and Meal Share chooses EVAs as one of their
As one of the recipients.
and that's how I got in touch with
Oh, okay.
EVAs, through Meal Share.
So, again, we're more than happy to do this together.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
And we really want to encourage our viewers to take the opportunity to try some of the fantastic dishes that Milagro I can personally attest to. You really will get a taste of Mexico with Chef Arturo and his team there. So again, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you
on
to
Miele
you,
Live.
to Miele, and for the opportunity. It's a very nice break from the last 5 weeks.
Great. Well, thank you again for joining us. For our viewers out there, thank you for joining us today. I also want to take the opportunity to welcome the viewers from some of our key retail partners out there who are also going through their challenges, and everybody's slowly starting to reopen. We want to make sure everybody's doing this in a safe way, as safe as possible. So from our viewers in Vancouver that are watching us, I want to thank our partners at Baker's Appliances, Avenue Appliances, Trail Appliances, Midland Appliances. Here in the Ontario region, our viewers from Tasco Appliances, Goman Appliances, as well as Appliance Canada. In Ottawa, we have Creative Appliances as well as Almar Appliances in Montreal. So I know you guys have invited your customers to join us and Chef today, so we want to thank you for that. Again, hashtag Miele Dines Local. We encourage you to share this with restaurants that you're going to right now, doing takeout or delivery from. We'd love to have them on here to share the experience with us. Later on today at 5 o'clock, we have another session with our partners at Concord Development Group, a very exclusive group that we've been working with here at Miele. And we have a very special session where we're going to talk about some latest technologies in cooking services, and obviously talk about some of the new projects that Concord is working on. Tomorrow, as part of hashtag Dines Miele, we have in some ways a returning guest, but Chef Eric from R&D Restaurant here in Toronto as well, who actually was the first winner of Season 1 of MasterChef Canada, who used Miele appliances there. So Eric's going to actually come on and cook with us tomorrow. So very, very lastly, on behalf of myself, Chef Arturo, Milagro, the Miele Group as well, we want to share a very big thank you to all the frontline essential workers that are out there right now providing all the services required by the communities across Canada, whether it's medical services, grocery, transportation, really everything out there. We want to say thank you on behalf of the teams here for your bravery during these times. We really, again, encourage everybody, even for those businesses that are reopening, do so really safely. We will get through this, and again, have a great day. We hope to see you again on Miele Live, and hopefully Chef Arturo will see you if you're in the GTA area at one of his restaurants as well. So again, thank you.
Thank you.